Growing up amidst the hollers and the hills of Appalachia, I've always been amazed by the old ways and the cures that folks here hold dear. The stories that have been passed down through the generations, they carry the wisdom of our ancestors. They fascinate me. And in particular, the tales of wart cures. There's something intriguing to me about the simplicity and the faith that surrounded these remedies, reminding me of the strength and the resourcefulness of our Appalachian heritage. In these parts, we were always warned as kids to stay away from frogs. It was said that those slippery little creatures could pass on warts, and we believed that with all our hearts. There had to be some truth to it, didn't it? Passed down through the hills like a secret whispered in the winds. But one of the ways thought to get rid of warts was by buying them. It was said that certain folks possessed the ability to purchase a wart from you with just a single coin. And once they bought it, the wart became theirs, and it would vanish. Of course, not everyone had this special knack of buying warts. It seemed to require a touch of magic, some sort of sprinkle of an otherworldly power that only a chosen few possessed. The belief of buying warts can be traced back to the old days in England. Back then, when somebody fell ill, people believed it was the mischief of an old evil spirit. And to confuse these spirits and protect their sick loved ones, folks would resort to peculiar measures. They would sell their sons or daughters to neighbors, hoping that the spirit would grow bewildered and lose track of the afflicted child. But over time, this practice transformed from selling children to selling warts, a curious evolution that spoke volumes about the resilience and the ingenuity of our ancestors. Other Appalachian remedies for warts were as diverse as the wildflowers that adorned the hillsides. Some claimed that washing your hands in water used to boil eggs would work wonders. Others swore by the power of rubbing a wart with a bean pod before secretly burying it. And as a bean pod decayed and mingled with the soil, the wart would gradually vanish, as if it had never even been there. Another method involved a piece of string. For each wart you had, you would tie a knot in the string. Then you would pick at each wart until it bled, placing a tiny drop of blood on each knot from each wart. Finally, you would bury the string and waited for the day it would decompose, taking the warts with it. There was also the curious practice of using a pebble from under the eaves of a house. This stone held mystical properties that could banish warts. All it took was rubbing the pebble around the wart 3 times and passing it back to the person with the wart. They would then find a hiding spot in the eaves strip of the house, where the pebble would be safely concealed. And as if by some Appalachian magic, the wart would fade away, leaving only a faint memory behind. In my own family, there were tales that sparked wonder and awe. A close relative once shared a story of an unsuspected wart cure. He had a wart on his hand. Completely unaware of what was about to happen, an older man asked him for a chew of tobacco from his twist. And without thinking much of it, he obliged and handed over the tobacco. The man took it from his hand, and in that simple exchange the wart mysteriously vanished. And it wasn't until later, when he was visiting his sister's house, that the subject of the wart come up. She asked him about it, and he casually mentioned it had gone away. And to his surprise, she revealed that she had asked the man to help him with the wart, believing in his hidden powers. And it seemed that through a touch and a silent charm, the man unknowingly worked his Appalachian magic and banished the wart for good. Another family member had sought the aid of a wart charmer. With whispered words and gentle rubs, the charmer set in motion an ancient ritual, and over the course of a week or so, the warts gradually faded away, leaving no trace of their presence. It was a display of belief in the power of intention, reminding us that there is still much we can learn from the wisdom of our Appalachian ancestors. Our ancestors, living amidst these old hollers and hills, they held on to their customs and beliefs, and they passed them down through the generations, and they navigated through life's challenges with a quiet wisdom, finding happiness and solution to the simplest of problems. You know, as I reflect on these stories, I'm reminded of the enduring power of belief and the strength that comes from embracing my roots. You know, these Appalachian mountains, they whisper tales of the past, and they remind you to cherish the knowledge and traditions that have shaped us. You know, these old ways seem peculiar to some, but to me, they are a cherished part of my heritage, a reminder of the indomitable spirit that resides within these hills. So let us hold on to these stories and pass them on down for future generations, ensuring that the wisdom of our heritage ain't never forgotten. And may their lessons continue to inspire us, their faith continue to guide us, and their wart cures continue to remind us of the beauty that lies with the simplicity of life in the Appalachians.